Welcome to the Truth About Social Ads podcast, where we talk about everything related to social media ads and give you the truth about what's happening in the world of ads.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Welcome to another episode of the Truth About Social Ads, where we sit down with awesome brands and talk about not only how cool they are, but what they're doing in social media today. Very excited to have our next guest on the show. His name is Paul Barron. He is the founder and CEO of The Wall Printer, an innovative printing machine that through social media marketing has created a service-based opportunity for entrepreneurs, established businesses, and anyone who wants art on wall or floors. So, Paul, thanks for coming on today. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jason. It's a pleasure to be here with you and your audience.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Well, I mean, from that introduction, everything sounds clear except for when we get to the end where I said, anybody who wants art on wall or floors. So, yeah, I think it'll be super cool to chat with you. Definitely a unique piece of machinery you have, and then a unique business model you have as well. So very excited to jump into all the nuances. So I guess first of all, tell the audience who you are, what you do, and and then we'll get into kind of the business side of things.
Thanks, Jason. So yes, as you said, my name is Paul Barron. I'm the founder and CEO of Wall Printing USA, or we call ourselves the Wall Printer. And that's not only the trademark name of our products, but basically kind of self-explanatory what our products do. We have created machines that we distribute that are very large printing machines, kind of like inkjet printers on steroids, if you will.
Crazy.
A
Yeah.
quick trip to our website would tell anybody anything they really wanted to know about these machines and how they do, but I'm not looking to sell anything here. I'm just looking to hopefully leverage, my experience for the benefit of your audience on the social media ads and everything else. But my background and how I got here, I like my own story. It's had its ups and its downs.
Yeah.
I've spent. I'm not young, and I'm not going to go back to your audience. Paul was born at a very young age and start from there.
Yeah.
Suffice to say, the last 4 or 5 decades, I developed I guess, a talent or some level of success identifying interesting foreign products, meaning something that's manufactured or has been introduced outside of the United States and it doesn't have an audience here, but possibly could add value to whether it be a business, to a consumer, business to business, business to consumer, something innovative. And also, along with that, not only just a product that can go to market, but perhaps a product that can help other people realize their financial hopes and dreams in some type of entrepreneurial venture. Um,
Hmm.
Founded, and my career has spanned everything from an innovative baby bottle that I introduced from Austria, software from
Wow.
Russia, a Chinese headband headphone, a self-service dog wash from Australia, and I can go on with a bunch of
Dang.
other things. But I did that primarily as a commission salesperson because the hats I liked wearing early on in my career, even though
Hmm.
I did have several businesses, I worked for several companies to try to learn what I knew I didn't know. But I
Yeah.
always found myself wanting to control things and founding my own business. But eventually I found out again things that I didn't know and things that were interesting to me. So I did fall into this role that I just described, and I did it as a commission salesperson. Did very well over the years, and but I always wanted things. Once I learned about a product, I wanted it to maybe be different, or I wasn't
Hmm.
finding the right customers or the right audience, finding different ways to do that. And again, not having total control over it because I was basically a hired gun for these companies who
Yeah.
just wanted me to introduce and support their products. Increase in revenue,
Right.
partnerships, vendors, strategic relationships, whatever, here in the United States. So I was retired about 7 years ago, but I'm always looking at things, and people are usually finding me. And I was approached by a German company that is a competitor of mine now. And I'd like to say that, well, suffice to say that we far surpassed this company that found me about 7 years ago and asked me to introduce their product into North America, into the United States. It was a vertical printing machine. a machine that printed artwork onto walls. Any wall,
Crazy.
indoors, outdoors, didn't have to be a smooth surface, just a flat wall. So it could be stucco, brick, metal, regular wallboard, glass, tile, whatever.
Mhm,
Thought it was the
mhm.
coolest thing I'd ever seen. And there are very few ways to put art on walls. You can do wallpaper, vinyl stickers, you could do hand painting, um, you can hang a picture. That's really about it.
Right.
And so it seemed like there was a lot of opportunity for something as innovative as this. So we did our courtship for about a month or so. They wanted to know if I was the person they wanted. I wanted to know if they had the product I wanted, and I loved it. And so after about a month or so, I reached out and I said, and when they actually were offering me a position, I said, okay, how much do you want for your company? And they laughed at me and they said, no, Paul, we're not interested in selling the company. We just want a salesperson to introduce this product to market. You've got good
Right.
history. We'd like you to be that person. And I said, well, unless I can have equity stake in something and have some ownership, I don't do that anymore. And so we parted ways. But
That's
I did say that was a really cool thing. And so I
right.
wanted to do my homework now at this point, which I did a little bit, but not as extensively as now, because now I wanted to really get more into it. And I wanted to say, how come I've never seen or heard about this before? Which actually is the first thing that I need to say to myself in order to be interested in something. Why
Right.
haven't I seen this? Well, I think I'm a
Yeah.
fairly normal consumer. Some people might question the normal word, but as a consumer, if I can afford something and I think it might add value to my life, have some benefits, not just features that are cool, but real benefits, I might go ahead and pursue it and buy it or use it or whatever.
Right.
And
Right.
so that's what I really look for. And this kind of ticked those boxes. And so I decided to see who else is doing it. How come I've never seen anything like this before? And I found out that the technology really originated in China 14 years prior to this German company approaching me. They basically copied the technology, put a little bit of their German engineering on it. Look, I drive a BMW. I'm not saying that to you and your audience to be pretentious. I'm
Yeah.
saying it
Yeah.
because I value a well engineered product, and my car
Sure.
is a well engineered product, and I love
Yep.
driving it. But at the
Yep.
same time, just because something says made in Germany or made in US or made in wherever doesn't mean it's worth twice what something else of comparable value and
Right.
quality might be worth. And I
Yep.
found that to be the case in these machines, as this German product was marketing itself at a value of $70,000 per unit. My
Wow.
machine, just to put in perspective to your
Yeah.
audience, this isn't a $100 desktop printer like I
Yep.
see behind you there, Jason.
Yeah. Right
What it
there.
is, it's a $40,000 machine. Ours
Yeah.
is, and
Right.
is anyway, I think it's the best machine in the market, but that's not for this conversation. So I basically said, after doing my homework and thinking this was really cool, I'd like to get into it more. And so I wanted to find out again why this has never hit the United States. So I reached out to all these companies. And I rejected them all. Some of them were very lightweight home hobby solution. My vision for a product is something that you could market ideally through social media, which is the least expensive way to get the word out of a brand and a product, and find an audience for this. And so I decided to approach all of these companies. I have a company. I don't like to travel too much unless there's a beach around. So I have a company that goes to places that are interesting to me to kind of kick the tires. And three of them were rejected, and the one that was the originator of the technology ticked all the right boxes. It wasn't a company working out of their garage. They had R&D. They had the ability to do something, and so I pursued them. Of course, not after asking my wife, "Is this okay?" Have to get the spouse's endorsement on these things,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
invariably, I'm in my home office now, not the wall printer today, to talk with you. So I usually call Maureen from another. She's in another room in the house, and I say, "Hey, honey, come over, take a look at this." Invariably, Jason, she doesn't come and take a look at this. She usually cuts up my credit cards and then changes all the passwords in my bank account because she goes, "Here, Paul goes. He's going to invest in something nuts again." So
Yeah. Yeah.
this time, with coaxing, she did take a look. She said, "That's really cool. You think you can do something with it?" I said, "Yes." So she gave me the go ahead. So I pursued it. And
It's
so I
awesome.
started the courtship now with this manufacturer. Fast forward a year of going back and forth, we created an agreement between us. I'm actually a part owner of this product, I own all rights to the Western Hemisphere. We have
Nice.
created a business in 2019 to introduce this to market. Again, social media was the way we were going to do that. That was our
Hmm.
vision.
Yep.
And the idea was we wanted to put people in business to use these machines. We're not a franchise. We are the printers. They are the business. Yes, we'll help them with marketing guidance. We'll actually manage their social media, website, their back office management systems if they want us to. But we're not a franchise. We don't reach into their pockets for
Hmm.
revenue and royalties. We don't tell them who to market to, which, because of this, one of the attractions of this business to me and this machine was that the audience is endless. We all know that there are lots of walls out there. And so,
Yeah.
every room has at least four, and there are indoors and outdoor walls. And so the opportunities for people who want art on walls is not limited to just one vertical audience. You've
Hmm.
got schools, you've got residential, you've got apartments, you've got restaurants, you've got
Yeah.
doctors' offices. There's just no limit to the creativity of where art might go on walls, indoors or outdoors.
Hmm.
So all of this was really interesting to me. I went all in on it, created the business in 2019, called it the wall printer, which was pretty self-explanatory. I
Yeah.
was surprised. Again, this was at the beginning when nobody ever heard or have seen this machine before. So basically, it was easy to get me a trademark of a name like that. And and here we are today, 6 years later. We have several hundred customers. Our nearest competitor only has literally a couple of dozen.
Nice.
We've got a really good market share. And again, it's all been because of social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, going after Google ads, going after all those channels to let people know what this is. The nice thing about using those channels is that I'm in a very visual business. We have a machine that puts artwork on walls. And
Yeah.
if anybody ever went to our website, it would take you only 15 seconds to realize what it is we do and what the machines
Yeah.
do. And they're just really cool machines. And they work very well. They reliably put very high resolution artwork onto, like I said before, any wall, indoors and outdoors. In the course of our business, we get approached. I learn more from my customers than they learn from me. They get approached with a lot of people who want artwork sometimes on other things, ceilings, floors, different types of surfaces. So we're always trying to experiment and learn vertical blinds, Bahama shutters, hurricane shutters, all kinds of things, garage doors that we didn't think of originally when we just think of printing artwork onto
Yeah.
walls. So one of the things we did is we actually invented, I'm a co-patent holder on a floor printer. We are the only company that has both wall printers and floor printers, although companies have been trying to copy us over the last 5 or 10 years. But um, right now, we are really the market leader in both these areas. But we did
Hmm.
invent a floor printer. It was actually designed because people came to us wanting personalized parking spaces in their garages. So
Oh, no
we
way.
created a floor printer, and if somebody takes a look at the machine, you'll see it's a big machine that's 8 feet wide. And the reason we made
Wow.
it 8 feet wide is because a standard US parking space is 8 feet wide. And so
Got it.
that's kind of the mother of invention is necessity,
Yeah. Yeah,
as the saying
totally.
goes. And so we don't want to be all things to all people, but our customers, as I said, they teach us more about what the market wants. And then if it means some improvements on the product or on the communication and the marketing of the product, we'll go through it.
That's
Um,
awesome.
I'll shut up and let you ask me questions.
Yeah, no, no problem. That was great. Thank you. So I mean, of course, your name is self-explanatory, but explain to the audience, especially those who aren't watching on video. And actually, um, I may share my screen and just go to your website because it is super cool, like the actual printer. But explain to the audience, yes, the wall printer super, self-explanatory, but like what is it, right? And I know you kind of explained it, but like get into details about, okay, so this thing is, x amount of feet wide or whatever. Is it easy to take to places? And then what's the setup process like? Do you upload it to an SD card, plug it in, and it prints? Like, kind of tell the audience the nuances of the machine and how it gets set up, and just how awesome it is, because it looks super sick. It looks cool.
Jason, thank you. I believe it is. I believe most people that see it would agree with you.
Yeah.
But I just want to. I'll answer your question. And I'm happy to do it. But before I do, again, as I said early on, I really don't want this to be a sales pitch for the wall printer,
No,
and it
no.
isn't.
Yeah.
I don't. So I don't want your audience to think if I do answer your question, that I'm really trying.
No.
Because, and one of the reasons I'm saying this at this point in our conversation is because what you asked is what everybody asks. They see
Yeah,
a
yeah.
cool machine that's doing something they've never seen before, and they want to
Right.
know all about it.
Yep.
But before I answer that question, I'm going to tell you the real reason I'm in this business or in any of the businesses I've had previously. I want to know that the product has value to somebody to help them create a business that realizes their dreams, whether it means that it's something they can sell, something they can build, something they can just, you know, create an environment or a business that will help them do what they want to do. Uh, your question about the machine, you could just as easily ask me, what does a stove do? You're not gonna open a
Right.
restaurant because you see a stove that's really cool and you like this stove. That
Right.
doesn't mean you should be in the restaurant business.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to it. And just because somebody sees this machine is cool, and we do get bogged down in the technical aspects of it. How does it work? How do you import an image? What kind of an image do you use to put that artwork on walls? And all these things, and how easy is it to set up and maintain it, and all these things, which are really important questions. And anybody getting into the business should know that. But what's more important to me, and this is actually something we've learned. Again, I'm trying to tie this back to what your audience came here to hear about,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
the truth about social ads. And
Yes.
the truth about social ads is that, there are some products that lend itself, like ours, very well to social media because
Hmm.
it's visual, and you
Right.
can put something in an ad very easily. But more important, it's identifying the audience. Social
Yeah,
media, one of the
absolutely.
great things about social media, it's a relatively inexpensive way compared to other things like TV or radio or going to trade shows or
Yeah.
billboards. Relative to those items of ways to communicate and advertise, social media gives you this opportunity at a relatively low price point. But with that said, you get a lot of what's the right expression, with not being too unkind. You get a lot of garbage with the flow of
Absolutely.
information. We
Yep.
get we have millions of impressions of our ads over for at this time. We get
Hmm.
over 100 leads every day. When I say leads, people who have gone to our website, they've seen an ad, they've gone to our website, they say this is really cool, they want to learn more and get answers to the questions just like the ones you just asked, Jason. And they
Hmm.
want to learn more about the product because they think it's cool. They don't really know right off the bat, even though we try to articulate right from the beginning, this is a $40,000 machine, and it's
Right.
designed to be something to use in a business that you're going to create around this machine and find your audience, find your customers, decide who you want to market to, how you want to market,
Excuse
and
me.
all of that. So
Hmm.
the challenge of social media is finding that sweet spot, finding what is it, that diamond in the rough, in
Yeah.
the pile of things, that needle in the haystack. I could use all sorts of analogies, but out of these 100 leads we get every single day, 95% of them, 95 of those 100, they see it's a $40,000 machine. They see it's a business. They don't necessarily want to be in a business, or they have a business and they don't understand if this applies to the customers they already have, which
Yeah.
actually is a very big audience for us. People like painters, general contractors, interior decorators who have businesses, have customers, and see this as a way to add revenue to the customers they already have.
For
But
sure.
generally, 95 of them disappear right away. But 5 of
Yeah.
them,
Yeah. Yeah.
they get it. They say, "This is a business, and that's what I want. I'm looking for a business." And whether this business is a wall printing business or a restaurant or a coffee shop or a Dunkin' Donuts,
Hmm.
these are the people we really want. Those who see this as a business to grow, to hire people, to employ people, to realize their financial goals. This is who we're looking for. And so through social media, you can continually refine the target audience that you're
Yeah.
reaching. And so that's the real cool thing about it, is that it's very nimble. It's very easy to do, with A/B testing, so to speak. Does
Sure.
this message work? Does this visual work? What's getting people? Will this podcast, when people see you and me and hear this, will they understand, and will they then want to know more and possibly become a customer who becomes a business? I'm very proud of the fact, Jason. I'll just say this as kind of and then I'll actually answer your question,
All
if you
good.
still want the answer to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm very proud of the fact that 2 years ago, the wall printer and I were selected in North Carolina as the Entrepreneur of the Year.
Nice.
Not a contest. It's an award that's given every year over thousands of applicants, new businesses, generally startups or emerging businesses in the growth stages, that apply to be recognized as the Entrepreneur of the Year. And it's all sorts of businesses. It could be retail, it could be food service, it could be hospitality, it could be nonprofits, manufacturing, distribution. all different categories. And then out of all the category winners, of which we won in manufacturing and distribution, then they pick one out of the 7 categories to be the Entrepreneur of the Year. The wall printer was selected in 2023 as the Coastal Entrepreneur of the Year. And again, I'm very proud
Sweet.
of that, but I'm proud of that more for the reason they selected us than the fact that they selected us. And the reason was the judges in this particular award every year are charged with what business would you invest $100,000 in? That's what
That's
the
cool.
judges need as their criteria. And
Yeah.
when they eventually picked me and they were introducing me to the audience. Of course, it's a big surprise at this event every year of
Yeah.
who is
Yeah.
the Entrepreneur of the Year. Nobody knows who it is till the last minute. And when the person was introducing me, um, they said the reason we selected the wall printer was not because we would invest $100,000 in, but it's because they created businesses that would create $100,000 revenue for their customers,
Wow.
and
That's cool.
it would create business opportunities for other people that want to make $100,000, or that would improve their lives. And so that they got it. In other words, they understood exactly. Will I take $100,000 every day from a customer to buy 3 of our printers? Absolutely. But at the
Yeah.
same time, we really want people who get business, who want to who want to be in business and who want to grow and buy more printers, because that's our business. We're
Yeah.
not, as I said earlier, a franchise, so we're not reaching into their pockets for royalties. We want them to be successful, so they hire people and they buy more printers from us.
That's
And
cool.
so that's our story. Now, your question.
Yeah.
I'm not so old that I forget that quickly, but you wanted to know some of the technical aspects. So our machines do require a vector image. If your audience isn't familiar with that, a
Yeah.
vector image is a digital image that can enlarge to any size and look beautiful. If you see behind me, let's see if I could show you for those that have video. There's a picture I'm showing for those who can't see it of my dog with Santa Claus. So that picture that I just showed was of my dog with Santa Claus, 4 feet by 5 feet. You take a picture of your phone. Most people know if you zoom in on it on your phone or on your computer, it gets all what's called
Yep.
pixelated. It just is
Yeah.
not very crisp and clear. Unlike a vector image, which no matter how big, you can make it 50 feet by 20 feet, a big mural or whatever, a billboard, it'll still look crystal clear. You could read the text. You could see the images. You could see the eyes on the seagulls. All of that happens in a vector image. So that's what our printer wants. As far as setting up, the printer sets up in 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. It
Nice.
is designed to be portable and to be transported to a customer site where there's a wall to be printed. However, many of our customers never even take our printers off their site, and they use it to print on something, just like a signage company would print on a piece of sheet metal, or a
Uh-huh.
4 by 8 piece of plywood or something.
Mhm.
One of our customers has the national contract for Checkers fast food hamburger places. I don't know if you're
Yeah.
you're
Yeah. Yeah.
familiar with that, but
Yeah.
if you've ever
Uh-huh.
seen a Checkers, they have all this beautiful local artwork on the outside of their buildings. If
Yeah.
the one in Wilmington, North Carolina, looks for things that are based in Wilmington, and they put that artwork on the walls. Well, they don't have somebody hand painting that, which would take months to do.
Yeah.
Instead, what they do is they take these big panels of I forget what the type of surface it is, but it's a panel like plywood, and they use our floor printer to print an image on it, and then they hire a general contractor to put those on the outside of their buildings, and that's what creates the artwork, not hand painting. Which
That's
also is some of the
awesome.
advantages of wall printer. Look, there's a place for everything. Wall printers
Yeah.
don't do vehicle wraps. We don't do curved surfaces like fenders. But at the same time, wall printing goes indoors, outdoors, any weather conditions, all of that, and will print to any size, as opposed to some of these other things. Hand painting, wonderful. We don't. And when we first
Yeah.
started the business, people said, "Hey, Paul, you're taking the food off the table of muralists." Nothing could be further from the truth, because muralists, artists, their real reason for doing what they do is the creative aspect of their art.
Yeah.
What we do is, rather than sitting there and hand painting what they have created, which they usually always create something, usually with a digital format or something on their
Yep.
computers, or hand painting. They do that first before going to a wall to print something, which would take hours or weeks to do. Our printer can do that in hours. And so we print what they've created. And so that we
That's
work
cool.
together with artists and muralists. But technically
Yeah.
speaking, we provide all the training. It's a 1-day training that tells all the aspects of maintaining the machine, how you take care of it, how you set it up, how you break it down, how you use it, how you import images, all that kind of stuff. The real
That's
training
cool.
comes when our customers leave us. You can't learn everything in one day about anything for the most part. And
Yeah.
our printing machine is no different. The real learning comes from when our customers practice using it. And we
Right.
encourage our customers to spend a month just practicing, getting some friendly places like they know somebody who owns a restaurant or they've got a child in a school, and they want to print something on the wall, and they do that free of charge. The nice thing, again, about wall printing, one of the things that attracted me to it, ink is cheap. Ink costs less than 50 cents a square foot. So
Wow.
a 5 by 8, 40 square feet, a 5 by 8 print, 40 square feet, which is a nice size wall mural, has about $20 worth of ink in it. And with all machines, takes about 2 to 3 hours to print that. It would take an artist hours to do that, many hours.
Yeah, for
But it
sure.
would it would take our machine 2 to 3 hours to print it. So the cost of labor, the cost of ink, and generally our customers usually they charge anywhere from as low as $20, as high as maybe $40 or $50 per square foot, depending on a lot of other factors. But we don't. And
Okay.
again, we're not a franchise. We don't tell them what to charge.
Right.
That's up to them to figure that out with our guidance. Of course, we tell them what. But the cost of the materials and labor is really the least expensive components. So it's a very high margin business.
Yeah, so the ROI is really good on the actual printing itself.
Correct.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, and you could also instead of well, my wheels are kind of turning here. So instead of let's say on a restaurant, instead of getting a $5,000 sign made, you could have something printed on the building, right? That has their sign, their logos, like enter here, whatever it is. Like they could use that.
You're a great shill, Jason. Yeah, it's a really good question on a couple of levels. The short answer is, which I rarely give, I apologize to your audience, but the short answer is yes. It can do that. You could use our machine because it prints very high resolution text. You could print the menu or the hours of operation on the glass front door or on a window. You can
Yeah,
do
that's
that,
cool.
and
Yeah.
you can fill up a wall with an image. If it's a an Italian restaurant, a picture of Naples or a guy
Right.
somebody putting a pizza in an oven. You could do all of that, and you could do it indoors, outdoors, on any wall at all. And it's that's a very very easy application of our printers. And again,
Yeah.
signage. So if somebody wants to
Yep.
hang a sign, you can wall print that sign just as easily as you can have a signage company do that on their very expensive flatbed printers and get the exact same result.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's super cool. Now, let's say I came to you and I was, a business owner and I just said, "Hey, I just need something printed." Do you do that as well or do you refer them out to like customers of yours to actually do the printing?
So many of our competitors do exactly what you said. They'll
Mm,
provide printers and they'll also deliver services. We do not compete with our customers. We are the printers, they are the business. We'll give them any
got
kind of
it.
guidance they want, and when they have a job or a particular customer or a particular wall or floor, we'll work with them to make sure their job is a success. But we don't do the services or provide that. What we do, and we're in a fortunate position now, 6 years into this business, that we have hundreds
Mhm.
of customers out there with wall printing businesses. And when somebody does want a wall printing, first thing we do is refer them to somebody there. And if they don't, well,
Right.
look, I'm a businessman. I want to sell my printers. So
Yeah.
if I see that there is no wall printer there, because even though we have 350 or so customers out there, that's not a lot. We're still at the tip of the iceberg of this industry.
Right.
It's not 20,000 McDonald's out there or Dunkin' Donuts or something
Right.
or
Yeah.
Starbucks. So there's plenty of more room on the upside than the established wall printing businesses that have been created already. So if there's no wall printing business within a geographic area that's easy to service, what we do is what any good salesperson should do, is ask them for referrals and say, we don't do that, but do you know anybody who maybe is a painter or, somebody who's a general contractor in your area? Maybe they'd want to be in this business and take one of these machines. And,
Right.
but we don't provide the services. I will say that we do have a local business. We don't own it, but there is a local business that we support very greatly because they're in our backyard. And we
Mhm.
also, what's the expression, eat your own dog food?
Yeah.
I should eat as well as my dogs, but at the same time, we want to make sure that our customers can be successful with this. So we do have a
Right.
local company that we monitor very closely to see what they're charging, how they get jobs, how they advertise, what's the result of their social media marketing and their networking
Mhm.
with local chamber of commerce meetings and things like that. Because it's a different kind of marketing that our customers will do in addition to social media than we do.
Right.
We don't go to
Yeah,
trade
for sure.
shows. We don't go to trade
Yeah.
shows. We don't do a lot of that kind of stuff. No billboards, no 1-800 wall print phone number that people can call.
Yeah.
Our customers not only create their own brands, but we put it on their printer for them with their logo, a QR code that gets people to their website. Because when people see this machine out there working, they think it's so cool and they scan the QR
Yeah.
code and they get to their website. But there's goods
Yeah,
and
that's
bad
awesome.
about that. We would like
Yeah.
we would like to send our customers more business, but we're really geared about the business opportunity and the printers. But every
Yeah.
day, out of those hundreds of leads that do come in, we get a few that say, I just want a wall printed, like you just mentioned. And so we will
Yeah.
then go ahead and feed that out to our customers.
That's cool. Yeah. So, yeah, and of course, like you said, your customers, the one who are buying the printers, are obviously going after a different type of customer, different type of person because they're going after business to have, you know, something printed, right? They want to print for their customers. So, yeah, I mean, it makes sense that their audience would be much different. Now,
It's
you had
nice. I'll
mentioned,
just interrupt you there 1 second. Again,
yeah,
because I'm an old man, and if I hear something interesting, I'll forget it really quick.
yeah,
Our audience, like I said early on in this conversation, there's no lacking walls out there and so few ways
yeah,
to put artwork on walls. Customers are never the problem. It's making sure that our customers know how to use the machine, that they're confident, that they maintain it properly because there are inks flowing in this machine, which require
sure,
kind of just like oil in your car. It's not
hmm,
it's not an onerous job. Takes just a couple of minutes each time before and after you print, but it's things you have
yeah,
to do with this machine to make sure it's working properly. But our customers basically fall into three buckets, kind of what you just asked about or mentioned that's interesting to me. 40% of our customers are people that are the entrepreneurs I described earlier. People who see this as
hmm,
something cool. They've got $40,000 to $100,000 to invest, and they want to go ahead and pursue a business like this, but don't have a lot of background and business experience. They just understand the without risk there's no reward, or
sure,
they don't mind being the first kids on the block introducing something. And so that's 40% of our customers. Another 40% are the ones that have a business, like the painters, the general contractors, interior decorators, people who have a business, printing shops, even signage shops will take our business
hmm,
because
hmm,
we can go to
yep,
the site as opposed to signage companies that basically have these big flatbed printers that print out hundreds of real estate signs and stickers and things like that. But
right,
the other 20% are then customers who don't want to be a business. They don't want to sell the services, but they want to use it themselves. A good example is we sold
mm,
6 of our printers to Amazon. You can't buy our printers on Amazon.com, but Amazon bought 6 of our printers because their warehouses, they spend tens of thousands of dollars every month making them pretty for their employees. And
that's cool.
they figured, why not do it ourselves? We have all these facilities managers and everything else. And schools are another good example. Schools, universities, community colleges,
Yeah.
vocational schools. These are schools that have areas, whether it be dormitories, gymnasiums, athletic fields, all sorts of places to put everything from sponsor logos to students' artwork on the walls. And doing it themselves, again, saves tens of
That's
thousands
cool.
of dollars every semester by using our machines.
Yeah.
So that's a great market of customers that buy our machines but don't compete with the customers who provide the services.
Right. Yeah. No, that's super cool. That's awesome that Amazon, yeah, you'd mentioned that before we when we first chatted that Amazon had purchased some printers from you guys. That's super awesome because we have a local Amazon when when I drive by, there is stuff on the walls inside the warehouses there. So it must be from your printers.
It may or may not be because, as I said, there
Yeah.
are people sometimes use vinyl stickers. They sometimes do hand painting, but hopefully, little by little, these 6 printers happen to be sold to facility in Boardman, Oregon. But little by
Ah,
little, we now
nice.
get inquiries from all the other warehouses. We would like to think that
Yeah.
our printers will be out in every one of them in one day.
That's cool.
But again, we supplement a lot of other ways to put art on walls.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Well, and you do have a great slogan on your website. Those who never take risks will always work for someone who has. So, you were kind of talking about risk earlier. That's pretty cool.
Well,
So I love that.
to that point, and again, happy to go back to the truth about social ads anytime you want.
Yeah.
But to that point, early on when I was in my 20s, yes, a long time ago, when I was in my 20s, I worked for a company, was a salesman for a jewelry company. I
Hmm.
was successful. The company was successful. I brought in a lot of revenue to them. And I was the first year I was there, and I was in, like I said, in my 20s. I was making more money than I thought I could possibly make doing anything else, and it was very happy. And they gave me a check for $1,000 as a Christmas bonus my first year. And again, that was 50 years ago.
You're like, okay.
Well, 50 years ago, $1,000 was a
Yeah.
lot of money.
That's a lot.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
I was really pleased with it. And my mother happened to be the bookkeeper for this company. So when I told her that was really nice of them to give me this bonus, and she said to me, says, "Well, Paul, between you and me, the sales that you brought into the company created revenue for them and profit that they each wrote themselves a check for $50,000 each for their Christmas bonuses."
Oh
So
man.
I went in the next Monday after this weekend, and I went into the owner and I said, I'm really thank you very much for the bonus. Really appreciate it. I really enjoy working here. I said, I think I'm kind of due for a raise. And so he looked at me, and again, my long-winded way to respond to what you just said about the risk. He looked at me and he said, "Paul, I'm going to tell you this. You do a great job. I think we pay you very well. And I assure you that if you work for me, I'll pay you more than anybody else will pay you. But I also promise you, if you don't work for yourself, you will never earn what you think you're worth." And so
Wow.
I thought about that for about 15 seconds, realizing that that made a lot of sense. And I
Yeah.
quit. And I quit. So so
That's awesome.
I quit, and I went out as an independent contractor, and that was my foray into representing companies. And I actually represented one of their competitors. I worked half the time, made twice the money, but I was on my
Wow.
own, doing my own travel and my own customer
Right.
identification and that kind of stuff. So
That's
yes,
cool.
that's why we put that on our website, because I truly believe that if you're not willing to take a risk, you're not going to benefit the rewards from it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. And you know what? You're gonna fail. It's not always gonna be perfect, right? But it's that one thing or those few things that you do in your life that you take a risk and they work, and it's super rewarding.
Yeah,
So
don't get me wrong. I don't want to give the wrong impression. This my career has not been the hockey stick, proverbial hockey stick that everything goes up all the time. It had its peaks, it had its valleys. There are times when I was looking for pennies in the couch, to put
yes.
gas in my car to get to the next interview or customer,
Yep.
and there are times that things went very well. But
Yeah.
everything, all those ones that were not so great as a financial success, I never called them failures. I always looked at them as
Nope.
learning
Yep.
experiences. And so,
Yep.
you have to be, that's another thing about being an entrepreneur. You have to be willing to take that hit also, because not
Yeah.
everything is going to be a winner right out of the box.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, I agree. Now, real quickly, because I know we've been going for a bit now, and I want to respect your time, but wanted to ask one thing. So, the clients that you have or the customers you have that buy printers, you said you support them with websites, social media. Are you actually like, well, so we're actually going to have Ashley, your CMO, uh, she's going to be recording this next episode with me to go into the nuances of your ads, but um, are you running ads for customers if they want it as well, or are
So,
you just supporting them and letting them know what to do on social media?
yeah, so great question. Again, as I said early on, we are not a franchise. So we don't tell our
Yeah.
customers who they should market to and everything else.
Right.
But we know that what they do need. We know that they need a way to manage their customers, commonly known as a CRM system,
Yep.
customer relationship management. They need some way to,
Yep.
manage their bookkeeping and their invoices and their bank deposits and things like that, and collect money. They do need to manage their ads and their social media. So we've learned early on that social media was the way to go for us. And even though we
Hmm.
do have other recommendations for people locally, like join the Chamber of Commerce, do local networking,
Right.
that kind of stuff, maybe a billboard, maybe a trade show on the local level. But we realized early on that our customers weren't necessarily savvy to those types of things. That maybe they were very technical and they thought the machine was a cool machine and they really liked the printing aspect of it, but not the customer relationship management,
Right.
not going out there and selling. That wasn't their thing. A lot of people, a lot of people ask me, through the years, "Hey, Paul, what's the difference between sales and marketing?" And my answer is very simple. Marketing is sales without a quota. Your
This is
salespeople
true.
need to bring in the revenue. Your marketing people need to bring in the people,
Yes.
and communicate what it is you have and what value it has. So yeah, I'm glad that you are going to talk with Ashley, because she, as our chief marketing officer, she's developed all of our social media presence, and she can speak more to the technical aspects of that. But to answer your question, again, I get around to it eventually. To answer your question, yes, we haven't done it for 5 years, but now last year we just started developing our own marketing packages. It's an option. Customers don't have to take
Cool.
it. They can do their own,
Yeah.
because as I said, 60% of our customers, 40% are businesses already that know how to do this. 20% are people who just do it for themselves, who don't advertise. But the other 40% that really don't know anything about this, we do have programs where we'll do everything from creating their brand, creating their logo, managing and creating their website, creating and managing their social media ads based on their budget, helping them with what kind of budget they need based on their financial goals and who they want to attract and how quickly they want to attract them. And so, yes, we do have
Cool.
programs. They're optional. And we do have free marketing resources we give our customers, different images. Everybody can use the thousands of videos that we have out there on YouTube and on our
Yeah.
website, and other images that we've created through our customers giving us their work product, which we always solicit because we like to promote our customers and the work they do. And so we always create ads around our customer stuff, not just what we print. But we do encourage our customers to send us that stuff. We encourage our customers to utilize, real world printing in their ads and on their YouTube, social media, wherever that might be, an Instagram or a Google ad or a Facebook presence. But we don't require them to do it. We give them a lot of that content. I guess that's the short way of
Right.
saying it. We give them the content for those things free of charge when they come on board. They get more than they can ever use. But at the same time, we don't use it for them unless they
Right.
either do their own marketing or contract us to help them with that.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah, that's super awesome because a lot of times, like, you build a website, right? And people think, oh, I can't wait to build my website. It's going to be great. But building a website's one thing, but then getting people to see it and getting traffic, there's a completely different thing, right? They have this image in their head that they're going to build this cool website or have a Shopify store or whatever. Well, how are you actually going to get people there? That's the next portion. And I'm glad you guys help your customers out with that, because that is a big gap, or it can be a big gap for new business owners,
Yeah,
you
look,
know?
there's I'm not going to I'm not going to say that there is not a value for the franchise business model. Who knows?
Sure,
Maybe
sure.
down the road in a couple of years, maybe we'll become a franchise. I don't know, because
Yeah.
that responds to the mantra of a franchise is that you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself.
By
Well,
yourself, right.
that's very true. They cover all these aspects of business that people may need or want to have, but at the same time, it's very restrictive, which is the reason we're
Yeah.
not a franchise. They tell you who to market to, what to charge, and then of course they take a piece of the action from you and force
Right.
you to have a certain budget and certain growth and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff to maintain the level of branding that they provide nationally or internationally. So for that reason,
Right.
we've stayed away from it. But at the same time, there are a lot of resources, and we try to give our customers guidance, because if they are in the business of providing the services, unlike the school or Amazon or something, we
Right.
want them to be successful. And there are loads of
Yeah.
resources, and we're happy to look through my career. I've reached out to those resources myself. Places like SCORE. If people aren't familiar with that, it's a free government service in almost every community of the country that will give you guidance of how to create a business plan or a business and what you
Mm.
need for it, and advertising and
Yeah.
things like that. These are free services that you can find. You can go to local universities. You can find out all those aspects of support for a business if you don't have those skill sets or experience yourself. I'm a mentor at the local university here at University of North Carolina. We have what's called a Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, CIE for short.
Cool.
And they have about 50 of local people like myself that have some experience. They might be lawyers, they might be financial advisors, they might be marketers, they might be general business owners, people who have an experience that can give that experience, the benefit of their experience, to people who are forming their own businesses or who have some type of a struggle in their business, or they've come up against a wall and they don't know how to get through it. And so
Yeah.
we do that give back here in North Carolina. And I say that again, not to pat myself on the back, but just to let your audience know, and people who don't have these experiences, their resources are out there. Universities,
Yeah.
universities and colleges are great places to find that kind of free resource. And
That's
again,
awesome.
SCORE is a good national organization.
Yeah, that's super cool. I mean, so I think it's safe to say that social media has played a big part in a lot of your success in the business. Like you said, I mean, you can target people on social media that you can't normally do if if you weren't running social media ads, for example, or just posting on Instagram and YouTube and like what you said before. So
Yeah, it's not easy.
that's
It's not
super
easy to
awesome.
take down a billboard and do it over again. It's easy to take down a YouTube ad or a Google ad or a Facebook post
This is
and change
true.
something else. If you find nobody's responding, nobody's commenting, or their comments aren't
Yeah.
in line with the customers were looking for, you change it.
Change it.
You change it.
Yep,
And
exactly. Yeah.
that's the beauty of social media. And again, Ashley
Yep.
can talk to you more about that, and how we do it and how we use it and all that. But I started my
Yeah.
business with only social media marketing. And again,
That's awesome.
I know we have to wrap this up. But I probably wasn't the smartest kid on the block when I started a business with something that nobody had ever seen or heard about before when COVID came around. We started our
Yeah.
business, we launched this in January of 2020, where you couldn't go to a restaurant or somebody's home with
Right.
this machine. And people weren't
Yeah.
coming to us or traveling to see it in work. So the only way to let people know that this wall printing
Social
machine
media.
existed was social media, because everybody,
Mhm.
and that's a good news, bad news story. The bad news is
Right.
we didn't get customers right away. It took us about 10 months to get our first customer. But we used that time to really not only learn everything about our printers and build out all of our training resources and customer
Mhm.
service and everything else, and maintenance resources for our customers, but using social media to identify who those customers are and get their
Yeah.
inquiries. And that's really the beauty of social media.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm glad, I'm glad you guys are using it to your full advantage and especially in that hard time in COVID where we were all locked down, you could still advertise and technically sell a machine even though you couldn't
Yeah, we had a captive audience there for a year. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
people were doing nothing but surfing the internet, and people were questioning their own jobs. Sure, a lot of people enjoyed working remotely, but a lot of people that were captured in their homes for themselves, whether they were still working remotely or they were laid off or whatever happened, they were rethinking their career path. And is this really what I want to do with
Yeah.
my life? Do I really want to be a school teacher, an accountant, a stock boy at the local supermarket, or do I want to look for other things that might be challenging and things that I might want to get involved in? So that was the
Yeah.
good news part of that good news, bad news story of COVID, is that it gave people pause to think about their careers and what they want to do next. And we became that for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, Paul, thank you so much for coming on today. It's been great. I think you've got an awesome business opportunity for people who want to pursue it. Obviously, the product, the printer, is super cool, very innovative. If people want to get a hold of you to find out more about how they can, reach out to you and even become an entrepreneur with your type of business, how can they reach out to you?
Thank you for that, Jason. And again, happy to answer your question, but also happy to also say that, this wasn't a sales pitch because wall printing
Sure.
is not for everyone. But I am
Yep.
happy, like I said a moment ago, I like talking to people, finding out what their journey is and what they want to do, whether it's becoming a wall printer or becoming the owner of a pizza place. I don't care what you want to do,
Yeah.
or go work for some company. To reach out to me, the best way is LinkedIn. This isn't an
Okay.
advertisement for LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is a good business resource and a good business networking tool, as opposed to Facebook or something like that. If people want to connect with me, I'm happy to do that, and that's a way to reach it. If they want to learn more about the wall printer, just go to thewallprinter.com. Thewallprinter.com gets you to our website, tells you everything you need to know about that, and if you want to waste another hour of your life, it'll tell you more about me as well, and my
Cool.
journey. And
That's awesome.
but again, thank you so much, Jason, for this time. I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, and we'll link your LinkedIn profile as well as your website in the show notes. If anybody's interested, you could just click there. But yeah, Paul, thank you so much for being on today. It's been a pleasure. And I will say too that you came on here like you're not a customer of ours. You wanted to share your marketing experience. That's why you're here. and we really appreciate you coming on. You've created a great business, and you're giving the gift of entrepreneurship to other people, which is super cool.
Appreciate that,
So,
Jason. Thank you so much.
yeah. All right, Paul. Thanks.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. We'll see you again next time. Be sure to subscribe to get future episodes.